guys, it's Bonnie. Today I'm here to do a review and discussion for Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard, which is the second book in the Red Queen series. I don't think it has a different title than that. The first part of this video is going to be a non-spoiler review, and the second part is going to be a spoiler discussion. So if you haven't read this yet, you can stay for the review part. So don't worry, I will tell you when the spoilers are coming, but not yet. So let's get right into this non-spoiler review. I am probably going to be talking about spoilers for the first book though, so if you haven't read Red Queen yet, you should probably do that before you watch this video. So let's talk about Glass Sword. So Glass Sword basically picks up right where Red Queen left off. All that shit happened with Maven and the Queen, and Cal and Mare had just escaped from the battle thing that they were placed in, and they're down on the underground train things going somewhere with Farley and Killorn, and I think that was it. Where do I even start with this book? Because that's the real question. When I read Red Queen, I thought it was okay. It wasn't the best book, but it kept me entertained. It was really fast-paced and just, I don't know, it was fun, I guess. It was very tropey. It was very similar to other YA dystopian and fantasy books. So when I was going into this one, I had like high hopes for it to be different, unique, and just continue with like the fast-paced action. And it did neither of those things. This book was still super tropey, and it was so boring. I honestly feel like I read 400 pages of nothing. In my opinion, this book completely suffers from second book syndrome, where the whole thing is just trying to set up the next plot. Like, there were things in it that were interesting, but everything dragged on, and it put me in such a slump. It took me like 2 weeks to read this book, because I was just like, I don't want to read it, but I was pushing myself, and I had been really excited about this book just because of what I heard about it, especially the ending, but I just wasn't blown away. I mean, the ending was fast-paced and exciting, just like Red Queen's ending was. I feel like Victoria Aveyard is really good at writing endings, but she's not good at writing the middle. Because like the beginning of this book, it was cool too, but then you get to the middle and it's just like, I will say the events of the end of this book weren't as obvious to me as the end of the events in the first book, because in the first book, she used so much obvious foreshadowing that I completely predicted everything that was going to happen. None of the twists and turns shocked me at all in Red Queen. And it was like, okay. But this one, I thought, okay, I don't really see where it's going, which was great for once. However, the end still didn't leave me, like, emotional, like it seemed to have, like, left a lot of other people. And I don't know. I think it's maybe because I still don't care about the characters. And in fact, I care about them even less, specifically Mare. In the first book, Mare was just, I don't know, your standard YA heroine. She wasn't special to me, but she wasn't bad either. But in this book, she was so infuriating, and I could not stand her. I do realize that she has been through a lot, and so a little like, oh man, life sucks would be okay. But, oh man, life sucks, poor me, for 440 pages? No. And not only would she be like, oh, poor me, she also just had this, like, superior attitude to everyone else. Again, there's nothing wrong with a strong female character. Obviously, I'm a fan of strong female characters. But there's a big difference between being strong and being just rude and, like, belittling others. She did that through the entire book. I can't tell you how many times she called pretty much everyone that wasn't her a child. Even Cal, who I'm pretty sure is older than her. She kept having this like, oh, I can't trust anybody. Oh my god, anyone can betray anyone if I read that phrase one more time. And while I understand that she has this kind of thinking, at the same time, it was so frustrating. She was really mean. Like, really mean, especially to Killorn. I don't understand how Killorn, I think that's how you say his name anyway, is supposed to be her best friend, yet she constantly refers to him in a negative light. I actually have a quote in my Goodreads review that I can read because I was just like reading this and I was like, what? He's no one. A fish boy with only good luck and my foolishness to protect him. He's no one? What? I just don't get, I don't get it. I don't understand. Through this entire book, she is just complaining, and this entire book, I'm just like, shut up, Mare. And if she's not complaining, she's going on some overly cheesy, like, inner narrative of like, oh, I have to do this, I must do. It was just so cheesy and annoying. And if I have to read the phrase "the lightning girl" one more time, that'd be like if in the Hunger Games, if Katniss referred to herself as the girl on fire every other page of the book. Who goes around calling themselves that? Like, first she was angry that that was the queen's name for her, and then in this book she's like calling it her. All of this kind of leads me to my next point, which is, where is like the feminism in this book? Not even like feminism in the way like, oh, you know, girl power, but like Mare has no female relationships in this entire book. Like, the only person that Mare seems to really consider worthy of anything is Cal, and even sometimes he's not on her good list, and it's just like, it's so frustrating. Something else I have to say is that the action in this book was really sloppy. There's this big scene at the end, it was just so poorly written because you get this really detailed account of like the first half, but then the second half comes where like the real action is and crazy stuff happens, and it's just kind of swept over. We're just kind of like get a gist explained to us in the next chapter, and I'm like, did you not know how to write that to make it seem realistic? Because it didn't seem realistic, because we didn't get because we didn't get a proper explanation. It didn't affect me at all. I know this series is picked up for film. I think it got film rights before it was even published, like Red Queen. And I think it would do much better as a film, so we'll see if that actually ends up happening. I know Elizabeth Banks is set to direct, which is cool. Love her. But I just, I don't know. The action didn't work. I think it would work on film a lot better. I think a lot of this would come off a lot better on film because you would have characters that you can relate to and like see their acting and hopefully actually like them. Whereas in the book, they're either flat and like non-existent, or they're awful like Mare. For the positive section, as I said, the ending was really cool, really exciting, and it does make me want to pick up the next one, even though even sitting here, I'm realizing all the problems that I had with it and getting kind of more angry. But will I still probably pick up the next one? Probably, because I do want to know what happens, and I just hate that Victoria Aveyard. It's like a evil, vicious cycle to write these great endings, but then write awful middle sections, because it's a trick, and I hate it. And I hate that it's working. So that is it for my non-spoil review of Glass Sword. Really not much else I could say about it, although I already think I said quite a bit. But yeah, if you're wondering, I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. There was still some redeeming qualities. It wasn't a full-on 1, but I definitely did not like this book as much as I like Red Queen, which is saying something because I didn't love Red Queen. It like went down a full 1.5 star rating from the first book, which is not good. Now I'm going to go into my spoiler discussion section. Now I'm going to get into the spoilery discussion section, so if you do not want to see spoilers, bye. Okay, so now that it's just us, just you and me, who have read this book, and I mean, you, me, yeah. I honestly don't have too much to say for my spoiler discussion because I got a lot of my ranting out in the non-spoiler section, but there are some things I need to say. The biggest one, Queen Alara was killed so easily, and I thought she was the best villain in this book. I love Maven as a character, and I love him as a villain, but he wasn't as strong as the Queen to me. The Queen could literally control people with her mind, and she died like that. And again, that was the scene I was talking about when I said there was really no explanation for what happened. It was that scene because it just kind of cuts off, and then suddenly the Queen is dead, and I'm just like, how? You think you would want to write her death in, not just being like, oh, she's dead. And I didn't get it. That'd be like Cersei Lannister just dying suddenly. Like, she was very Cersei Lannister in my head, and like, Cersei doesn't even have that kind of magical powers, and I don't even think she would die that easily. For that, I just felt that was really annoying, because the Queen was such a cool character too, and we get like nothing of her in this book before she dies, and it's just like, I mean, obviously it's like good that she's dead because she's really bad, but I would have liked a better death scene for her, for the best villain. We're done. And there's also Shade's death, which was not emotional to me at all because it just happened like that, and again, it's in that scene where everything was just going crazy, and so there was really no room for emotion. I was just like, oh, he's dead. That sucks for them. I figured somebody would die, and that would probably be Shade. The only thing I don't understand about him dying is he was easily their best asset. Like, I don't think Mare and Cal's power are as good as Shade's, because Shade could get you away from the situation when you need to get away, whereas Mal, and I keep calling her Mal, I'm combining Cal and Mare. Anyway, their powers are good for fighting, but they aren't good for getting away at all. As for the boring aspects of this book, which is the majority of them, I believe it was so boring because they spent so much time dragging out this New Blood thing. Like, I thought the New Blood hunt would be done, like, oh, here, like, we should be done and we should be moving on to something better, but we don't. Also, she gave like no characteristics. Really, like, I still loved the New Bloods more than Mare, but they're all just flat characters that we really don't get to read about because Victoria Aveyard doesn't really put any character development into her side characters, which is really a shame because Farley especially could be such a good character. All the New Bloods could be really great characters, but they're just not given the attention like Mare and Cal are. Also, we need to talk about Cameron because I loved her, but she was so like that angry black girl stereotype, and that was really annoying because that was like her only purpose, and she could have been such a great character. I hope we get to see more of her in the next books and more development, but I don't know. Probably not. Knowing Victoria Aveyard, it's just not going to happen. I keep looking at here and I'm like, that does not say Victoria Aveyard. That's because her name is up here. This says kneel or bleed. Also, the ending is the most stereotypical thing that ever happens in YA. Everyone was like, oh my god, it's so shocking, but like, giving yourself up to the bad guy? What YA book does that not happen in? Like, I think that's all I have to say now. I've said a lot. I really don't want to talk about this book anymore because I just keep getting more angry, and yeah, I'm just so disappointed. That's the biggest thing. I was anticipating this book. I was thinking it's going to be so much better than whatever it's called, Red Queen, but it wasn't. It just wasn't. So that was my review and discussion of Glass Sword. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked this book, you probably didn't enjoy it, but maybe I opened your mind to some things, and if you didn't like it, maybe you agree. Let me know in the comments. Try to keep spoilers out of the comments though, just for the people who are here for the non-spoiler review part. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I'll see you guys in my next video.